we are calculating GST. GST is the Goods and Services Tax here in Australia. It is the same everywhere. It is 10%, which makes life a little bit easier to work it out. There are places in the world where it is different depending on where you live. For example, in the US, they have state taxes as well as local taxes, and that will affect the price of goods. We're very lucky here. We actually have the GST built into prices on the shelves, on price tags. In the US, they can't because different states have a different level of tax. Some parts have 15%, other parts have like 7%. It's weird, so they can't actually include it on their tags, which makes it very hard. Calculate GST. We've got a couple of steps to do. Okay, you need to find 10% of the pre-tax
Is that after tax or before?
price. So pre means before.
Right, I was just making sure. I thought that's what it was.
Pre means before. So pre-tax, before tax has been added. Alright. And then we just add the price. Add that 10%. Okay. Well, post-tax price is 110% of the price. So if you're being asked to go backwards and get a post-tax price and find how much GST it is, we can just divide it by 11. Because that'll be how much was actually the actual GST was.
Wait, why is it 11 and not 10?
Because the post-tax price is 110%.
Oh,
Yeah, so if we divide by 11, we get the actual GST.
that's weird.
It is a little bit weird, but it does make life a little bit easier, doesn't it? Because we know those numbers. I'll put that last little dot up.
Well, I feel like we're in today. Can calculate. Cool. I wonder what I'm doing here. Did you feel? We got to drive the track. She's not probably out of that class. Yeah,
Okay, are there any questions on that?
Yeah, I can eat minus actually.
So here we have our example.
Wait, I'm not ready.
We'll just listen while you're writing.
Oh, right. I can't do
We've
that.
got John, he's bought a ticket to Sydney Olympic Stadium. And it's a pre-tax price, which means it doesn't already have the GST in it. $142.
Wow.
Alright? It might seem like a lot of money, but at Sydney Olympic Stadium, that's probably pretty cheap.
Good question.
He also has to pay the 10% GST. And the first question is actually how much GST is payable. So that should be a pretty straightforward question. Alright, how much is payable? It's just 142 times 10%.
It's $42.
How else could we write 10%?
11.
As decimal, which is
0.01.
0.1. Because it's 10%.
That'd be
Or 1% would be 0.1. But this is 10%.
Oh, raw. I understand. Oh, yep.
What?
So, someone do that calculation for me.
Yeah.
And what do you get?
You want some?
Maybe I don't want to personally with the ants.
What do we get when we do this?
Now, why would you not want to do that?
14.22.
Which becomes $14.20. Because remember, we're dealing with money. Money has 2 decimal places.
Is that how much he doesn't
That's
have
the
to pay?
GST.
Or that's all?
That's just the GST. So,
Okay.
B is what is the total cost of that ticket?
154.20.
Okay, so what am I going to do to get to that?
We said that.
Plus.
I'm just going to add it on myself. 142 plus 14.20 And what was it again? 156.
Can't have it.
Alright, C.
Yeah, can.
C, we've been given the total cost. He's changed his mind on where he wants to sit. He wants to go for a cheaper ticket. New ticket's $149.60. And we want to know how much of that was the actual ticket. Okay? So, this is 110% of it, isn't it? Yeah? So 149.60 equals 110%. So if we divide by 110%, or we can divide by 11, we'll get the actual GST amount. We can then times that by 10, and that will give us the total price. Does that make sense? Although we could actually just subtract it from there. So we're going to go 149 divided by 110%. Alright, does someone want to do that calculation for me? Because that should actually get you to your ticket price. What would I do as 110% as a decimal? Out of curiosity.
11%.
So 110%, what's the decimal?
1.1.
1.1.
I knew why.
Right, because 100% is 1,
Yeah, that is.
so 110% is 1.1. So what's my total? Guys, what's my total? Who's done the calculation?
135.45.
135.45.
45.
It's very interesting. Oh, unless because you were supposed to do 0.60. That's my bad. Let's try that again. That's better.
136.
Our second example, John's gone to Singapore. Singapore has a VAT instead of a GST. So GST was the goods and services tax. VAT is a value added tax. VAT, value added tax. And that's what some countries have instead of a GST. And it can range from anywhere as low as 2% to anywhere as high as 25%, depending on where you are in the world. Alright? So, the VAT, we've got our value added tax, it's 5% in Singapore when John goes to buy his microwave. And he's going to pay $275 pre-tax for his microwave. Alright, so there's some important bits of information. How much VAT is payable? There's going to be our 275 times what? 5%?
Oh, shit. Yeah, so it'll change.
And what is that going to equal, guys?
True that.
$13.75.
$13.75? So that's A. How much VAT is payable? $13.75. What is the total cost of the microwave including VAT? Well, just like we did before, we'll just add the two together. And what is that going to be?
288.
Oh shit.
So it's $288.75. And then C. C's decided to have a look at a different microwave. It's gone quite a bit more expensive, so this microwave would better be pretty flash. But the final price of it is $672. Now, with the GST of the 10%, we divided by 110%. What do you think we might divide by this time?
I got lost.
What was it? Yeah, so we're going to add that to the 100%, yeah? So if we had GST was 110%, the value added tax becomes 105%, yeah? So this time, we're going to divide by 105% to get our pre-tax price. We have we have $672 divided by 105%. Someone do that calculation for me, please. 640. And that's all it is. So you've just got to remember that when you've added either the VAT or the GST, it is 100% of the price plus whichever one you're adding. So for GST, it's always 10%, which makes life very easy for us here in Australia. So we add 10% for GST. If it's a value-added tax, figure out what that tax is. So for this instance, it was 5%, so it becomes 100 plus 5%. So it's 105% for this one. Any questions?
Is that mine?
You good?